introduction to the MENA region, as you know, and the two of us are going to cover this from different perspectives. It's really aimed at publishers new to doing business in the MENA region. I'm going to cover a lot about the export opportunities, looking at booksellers, particularly for English language books, but also for books in the other languages. And then Hassane will cover the publishing market, so looking at things like print runs, how translation rights work, how the different markets differ, and between us, hopefully, we'll answer a lot of your questions. We are going to do quite a brief overview and then ask you what your areas of interest are, that we can expand a little bit further on areas that are of particular interest to you. So first of all, I thought it would be useful to give you a slide showing what the MENA region actually looks like. People often define Middle East and North Africa in different ways. This is what I would say is the official map of the MENA region. However, I will show you another one, which is the members of the League of Arab States. And so the big difference between the two of them is that the League of Arab States members excludes Iran, but does include Mauritania and Somalia. So that's the main difference between them. To give you a brief oversight of the key facts, the population is about 380 million, but again, it does depend on which countries you include in this. So if you estimate it being between 380 and 400 million people, this accounts for about 6% of the total world population. Many people, when looking at doing business in the region, will also include Turkey, and that's where the acronym extends to MENAT. One of the new phenomenon as well is that Pakistan is often included as well, and so sometimes that's changed to MENAP. One of the interesting facts, particularly I think for the publishing industry, is that there is a very young population here. So according to the World Bank, 42% of the people here are under 18. I think that's quite a startling fact, but something that's very interesting for the publishing industry. Some good news facts is that education, so spending on education by governments, is increasing, particularly in the Gulf area. And I'll give you a few more statistics on that a bit later. And there's a big boom in private schooling as well. And I think that's of interest to people who publish not only in the English language, but publish for different curricula, where there are specialised schools in those languages teaching to those curricula. A lot of the new universities, again, particularly in the Gulf, but not only in the Gulf, are using English as the medium of instruction. And that's something that has changed quite quickly in recent years, and I think will continue to change as time goes by. And there's also a very literate expatriate workforce in the region, and again, that's not only limited to the Gulf, but does extend beyond that. Looking at the economic outlook for the region, it is set for a gradual pickup, although it does remain flat, and as we'll see later on, a lot of this will depend on the political instability of many of the countries that are in the region. This will impact things like unemployment, poverty, and spending power for the population. And as I said, a lot of this is going to be down to the conflicts and the instability that are happening in many of these countries. Low oil prices as well will affect the way that the economic outlook sets to grow. Looking at government expenditure on education, it's very notable to see that a very large part of Saudi Arabia's GDP did go on education, and in particular higher education, with 3 new universities being built. The UAE, the same, Turkey as well, with a regional average much higher than the OECD average. So moving on to the major outlets for books in the region. These aren't just for English language books, these are for local language books as well. And there are different outlets, major outlets for distribution in bookstores, both for academic books and for trade books. So here's a list of the key academic booksellers in the region that sell not only in their own countries, but will sell throughout the region. Some of these will also deal with school books and ELT, and a couple of them will also look at trade books, but these are the major academic booksellers for the region. I'm very happy to share this presentation with anyone afterwards as well if you need it. The trade bookstores, again, some are very local, like Dewan in Cairo, but others do spread across the region. So some of the outlets like the Virgin megastores are present throughout more than just one country. Looking particularly at the trade market, I think it would be of no surprise to anyone here to know that it's still very much a print-orientated market. E-commerce is still very low, and the main reason for that is the problems around distribution, not only cross-border trade, but also within each individual region. Also, the use of credit cards is also still very low, particularly in the northern part, in the Maghreb region, less so here in the Gulf, but certainly the use of credit cards for e-commerce is still on a low take-up. That is changing slowly, but that will take time and is the main reason for the lack of e-commerce. Amazon certainly hasn't penetrated the region, especially with Arabic books. There is a certain amount of trade of English language books that particularly expatriates will tap into. In general, there is good consumer book sales, and there is a very developed trade of book selling outlets. However, the main outlet for publishers to sell books in the region is at book fairs like this. Direct to consumer is extremely important, particularly for Arab publishers who are publishing in the Arabic language. Every country in the region has its own book fair, so it's a very packed calendar of book fairs, and publishers often find themselves spending most of the year going round the major book fairs. In my opinion, I'd say the major book fairs are Cairo, Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, the Abu Dhabi Book Fair here, and the Sharjah Book Fair also takes place here in November. Hassane might have a different view on other of the major book fairs, but I'd say those four pretty much cover the major opportunities for book sales.
Let's say just for the direct day, in Algeria, the book fair of Algiers is one of the most important. It's not institutional market, it's just direct to the consumer. It's one of the biggest one around the Arab world.
Yeah, and as you'll notice here as well, it's very important for the local schools in the region to bring their children to the book fairs. However, it isn't just for direct to consumer. You'll find a lot of libraries, schools, universities will come to the book fairs to place their orders or to buy books directly off the stands here. Particularly for the UAE, the Emirates Airline Festival of Literature that was established in Dubai 7 years ago is a growing opportunity not only for book sales but for meeting authors as well. Looking at the problems in the region, I think distribution, as I touched on, is challenging in the region, particularly cross-border trade. Certainly most UK publishers will ship directly from their warehouses to each individual country rather than shipping to one country here in the region and then distributing across borders here. Censorship does remain an issue in some markets. Publishers are often very careful about the content that they sell to different markets and would almost self-censor, but that does remain an issue in some of the markets. The other challenge is piracy, and that does remain a big problem for both print and digital in English and Arabic. I would say most of the territories in the region have very good copyright laws. However, actually enforcing them and trying to take action against piracy is very difficult, particularly when it comes to digital. I think that's also probably another reason why most Arab publishers who are publishing in Arabic aren't selling digital ebooks as well. Key sources of information to find out more about the region, book fairs like this is a great way to find out more, both from the seminar perspective, but also just walking around and seeing what's happening, looking on the websites. A very good blog I'd recommend is Arabic Literature in English, which doesn't only focus on new titles that are coming out by Arab authors in English. It also brings you lots of information about prizes for the region, about the book fairs, and has a really terrific events calendar. So I'd recommend subscribing to that. It's free of charge, and looking at the website. The Arab Publishers Association has a website that has a wealth of information as well, and their conference, which will be the third conference of its kind, is coming up at the end of the year in Sharjah, and will provide, again, not only a good wealth of information with all the seminars that are there, but a good opportunity to meet publishers from around the region. So I will hand over now to Hassane to give a little bit more information on the publishing market, and as I said, we'll take questions after. Hassane will be speaking in Arabic, so if you need translation, the headsets are at the back.
شكرا إما، شكرا على الحضور. في الحقيقة الحديث عن سوق الكتاب في العالم العربي عبارة عن إبحاث محيط تختلف فيه العمقات، أعماقه وتشعباته. فسوف نحاول أن نكون أو نعطي إطلالة واسعة على ما يحدث في عالم النشر في العالم العربي. منذ قليل في تقديمها الأختة إما تحدثت عن الظروف السياسية والاقتصادية الموجودة في العالم العربي، وأقول أن سوق العالم أو سوق الكتاب في المينا ريجن، أي العالم العربي، الشيء الوحيد اللي يوحده هو اللغة. غير ذلك فكل بلد داخل هذا الإطار الجغرافي اللغوي يعتبر في حد ذاته سوق يخضع إلى قواعده الخاصة، إلى أساليبه الخاصة، إلى اهتمامات خاصة تختلف من بلد إلى بلد آخر. السوق العربي ككل كسوق موحد شيء صعب ذلك، لأنه تنقل الكتاب بين دولة ودولة أخرى صعب جدا، ليس مثل أوروبا، ولكنه فعلا صعب بسبب وجود قوانين تحول دون سهولة تنقل الكتب بين مختلف الدول والقوانين الخاصة بكل دولة. ضيف إلى ذلك أن العوائق الجيوسياسية الموجودة الآن تمنع تنقل بالنسبه للعالم العربي هو سوق. طبعا بالنسبه للشرق الاوسط ودول الخليج اللغه الثانيه المستعمله هي اللغه الانجليزيه، بينما في المغرب العربي او شمال افريقيا اللغه الاساسيه او اللغه الثانيه المستعمله بالنسبه للكتاب المستورد نحو هذه المنطقه هو اللغه الفرنسيه، بالاضافه الى هناك انتاج محلي اصلا بهذه اللغه. في الخطوط العريضه للنشر اذا تحدثنا يعني بدون الدخول في العمقات في العالم العربي تقريبيا، لأن المشكله التي نواجهها هي غياب الاحصائيات وغياب الدراسات التي تاخذ بعين الاعتبار هذا السوق لعده اسباب لن افصل فيها الان. الاوفرج او المتوسط انتاج الكتب في العالم العربي يتراوح في حدود بين 2500 الى 3000 عنوان في كل بلد، وهذا اوفرج، يعني هناك اماكن قد يصعد هذا الرقم، وهناك اماكن اخرى قد ينزل فيها بسبب مثلا ما الوضع الامني الان موجود في سوريا او في اليمن او في ليبيا مثلا، التي قد ينعدم فيها تماما النشر في هذه المرحله. هذه الخطوط العريضه. في ما يخص موضوع هام جدا تحدثنا عنه ويجب ان ندخله، هو عمليه حركه شراء الحقوق وحركه الترجمه في العالم العربي. طبعا يجب ان ناخذ بالاعتبار ان العالم العربي هناك مشكلتين اساسيين، هو قله المقروئيه عموما في دول العالم العربي، وكذلك ضعف القدره الشرائيه عند القارئ العربي كذلك عموما، مما يصعب من عمليه الترجمه، خصوصا اذا عرفنا ان قله القدره الشرائيه تجعل من هوامش التي يستعملها الناشر العربي عموما في مبيعاته التي في متوسطها لا تتجاوز 2000 نسخه في احسن تقدير الا حالات نادره، لكن متوسط النشر في العالم العربي ما بين 1000 الى 2000 نسخه، وهذا كامل على الرقعه الجغرافيه للعالم العربي. اذا نعود الى الترجمه والهوامش القليله التي يستعملها الناشر العربي في مبيعاته، الهامش تقريبا هو سعر التكلفه مضروب في 2 الى 3 ماكسيموم. مع كميه السحب القليله تعتبر عمليه الترجمه في حد ذاتها مكلفه جدا، احيانا تصل عمليه الترجمه قد تكلف اكثر من الكتاب، من طباعه الكتاب وكل التكلفه الماليه لانتاج كتاب، فتكون الترجمه لوحدها تكلف الكثير، مما يجعل الناشرين العرب يعزفون او يبتعدون عن عمليه الترجمه. حاليا تقريبا دائما واقول تقريبا انه ليست هناك احصائيات رسميه، ولكن في حدود بين 500 الى 1000 كتاب تترجم سنويا من مختلف اللغات الى اللغه العربيه، بوجود دعم موجود. طبعا الكل يعرف اضواء على النشر موجوده هنا في ابو ظبي، فيه كذلك دعم لعمليات الترجمه موجوده في الشارقه، في كذلك استعانه ببعض السفارات وبعض الملحقيات الثقافيه مثل الاخوه من الBDF او الفارسيين او من ايطاليا حتى تركيا تيدا بروجرام. هناك برامج تدعم عمليه الترجمه في العالم العربي، وهي تقدم منح للتقليل من تكلفه الترجمه، ويستعين بها الكثير من الناشرين العرب، مما ادى الى ارتفاع نسبي لعمليات الترجمه التي لاحظناها في السنوات الاخيره. الاتجاهات العامه للنشر في العالم العربي لاسباب كثيره ممكن نفصل فيها لاحقا تتجه الى هناك نمو فيما يخص كتاب الطفل عامه وكتاب الناشئه. هذا النوع من النشر بدأ يظهر في بعض النمو، وادى الى ظهور حتى معارض متخصصه في كتاب الطفل، اهمها او نذكر منها معرض الشارقه ومهرجان الشارقه لكتاب الطفل، عندنا معرض الصفاقس لكتاب الطفل، عندنا معرض الجزائر كذلك لكتاب الطفل، وهي معارض متخصصه، لانه مثل ما قالت اما يبقى معرض الكتاب هو المدخل تقريبا الوحيد الذي يستعين به الناشرين العرب في عمليه تسويق وبيع الكتب. كذلك هناك حاجه الى ما يعرف بالكتاب، اسميه انا شخصيا الكتاب النفعي، او الكتاب انا اسميه شخصيا الكتاب النفعي يوسفول بوك، او فلنقل هو الكتاب الاكاديمي او الكتاب الشبه مدرسي الذي يبقى سوقه قار نسبيا. الكتاب الاكاديمي لان هناك مصدر مادي ياتي عن طريق المؤسسات التي تقتني هذا الكتاب، وهي سوق ثابت نسبيا، بالاضافه الى الى سوق كتاب الطفل، لانه حتى مع الظروف الماديه الموجوده في او القدره القدره الشرائيه لدى المواطن العربي، فانه يبقى دائما يحاول دائما الاستثمار في اولاده، فيكون هناك اتجاه نحو هذا الذي يبقى كذلك كتاب الطفل كتاب نسبيا كتاب قارئ. هذه الخطوط العريضه لعالم النشر، لانه الحقيقه كان من الصعوبه ان نقتحم هذا الميدان لتشعباته الكثيره وللحالات الخاصه، مثل ما قلت ان كل بلد يعتبر في حد ذاته سوق خاص يخضع لنفسه لقواعده الخاصه والتي لا تنطبق في اماكن اخرى. فهذه الخطوط العريضه ممكن من خلال الاسئله نحاول ان نجاوب على مزيد منها. وشكرا.
Does anyone have any questions or anything specific they'd like us to expand upon, or something that we haven't covered that you'd like to hear more about?
The situation regarding design, art, cultural books, how would you evaluate?
So art books, design, culture books, design, architecture.
في الحقيقة تكلمنا عن العالم. I may understand but نحن تحدثنا عن الخطوط العريضة للنشر في العالم العربي. بالنسبة للكتاب المتخصص والكتاب الفني أو كتاب الهندسة أو كتاب يعني اللي هي كتب متخصصة، فسوقها محدود جدا في مستعمليها، وهي يعني سوقها محدود موجودة، ولكن تكلفتها العالية تجعل الناشر العربي تقريبا يعزف نهائيا عن عملها. الكتاب الفني إن لم تكن هناك طلبيات حكومية، أي أن يعني مكان البيع قد يعني مضمون مسبقا، فإن الناشر العربي غالبا لا يتجه نحو هذه الكتب، والشيء ما يعني بسيط جدا، هي تكلفة عالية جدا في عملية طباعتها يعني كتب فنية، ثم أن سوقها محدود جدا جدا يعني في بعض المؤسسات، فهذا الذي يجعل غالبا كسوق هذا الكتاب يعني محدود الموجود.
In my experience, if they have an educational theme to them, then they do sell very well, particularly in the Gulf markets. Certainly, in my experience at the Riyadh Book Fair, books on architecture and subjects like concrete and cement were really popular. I think certainly in countries like Qatar, the UAE, where there's a high interest in culture and a lot of investments going into culture, then those books are popular too, especially where museums are involved.
فقط عندما نتحدث عن سوق الكتاب بالنسبة للقارئ، أم نتحدث عن سوق الكتاب بالنسبة للمؤسسات؟ بالنسبة للمؤسسات هذه سوق قارئ، وهو ما نتحدث عنه هنا. الكتب هذه الكتب المكلفة طبعا يكون دائما وراها كسوق أو كممول لها مؤسسات معينة، وهي موجودة وفعلا ولها يعني موجودة كمصدر لعملية النشر، لكن يعني وجود هذه الكتب أو تعميمها على القارئ عامة، يعني ممكن نزور المعرض الآن وننظر إلى مختلف الأجنحة، سوف تجدون أن هذه الكتب قليلة جدا، قليلة الوجود في المعرض. هذا ما أتحدث عنه. بالنسبة للقارئ العادي فتقريبا أقول يعني وتسمحوا لي إما أن السوق تقريبا يكون شبه منعدم إلا حالات نادرة. أما في السوق المؤسساتي فهناك سوق مؤسساتي وهو سوق خاص جدا ومربح كذلك بالنسبة للناشرين الذين يهتمون بهذا الموضوع.
Do we have any other questions? Just at the back.
What we keep hearing is that the Middle East has a really low rate of readership and that people don't read in this region. And at the same time, there's not that many avenues for writers, for example, to publish. And there's not many booksellers that would take unknown authors or books by unknown publishers or new publishers. It seems like a cycle, so what are some of the solutions that you would recommend to encourage people to read more and to encourage more avenues in terms of writers publishing their works?
I think it is a common fact, and Hassane started with that Arabs don't read, and I think it's not strictly true that they don't read, but perhaps they don't read books. I think they read newspapers, I think they read social media, I think they look at websites, and certainly in markets like Egypt, you know, newspaper circulation is extremely high. To buy a newspaper is very cheap, and so I would perhaps recommend looking at trying to get published in newspapers, for example. Self-publishing, I think you're right, in printed form is very difficult, but perhaps in e-form is a little easier. Are you talking about writing in English or Arabic?
Both.
Yeah. I mean, I think in Arabic it's probably a bit easier because there's a lot of social media in Arabic. I think for English, you're looking more at a market in this Gulf region, and the book fairs are a great place, particularly if you can get onto any speaker panels to talk about your work there.
سوف أجاوب باللغة العربية. الحقيقة في الإجابة على موضوع مثل هذا كيف نحل مشكلة المقروءية في العالم العربي. سوف أجاوب في جواب في مستوى أكبر من هذا، مستوى أكبر من السوق في حد ذاتها سوق الكتاب. أن هذه حل مشكلة المقروءية على مستوى العالم العربي في مختلف بلدانه يخضع أساساً إلى السياسات المطبقة في هذه الدول من أجل تنمية هذه الدول في المجال الثقافي. يدخل في إطار السياسات الثقافية المطبقة في هذه الدول، ونلاحظ هذا بطريقة مباشرة. نأخذ مثلاً الإمارات والدعم الدولة الإماراتية لقطاع الكتاب منذ 10 سنوات. نلحظ ونبتدئ في جني ثماره اليوم في كل هؤلاء الذين يزورون هذا المعرض، كيف ينمو معرض أبو ظبي، وكيف تنمو المقروءية مثلا في هذه المنطقة. كذلك نفس الشيء قد وقع في شمال افريقيا وخصوصا بالذكر ممكن الجزائر، خاصة في ال 15 سنة الأخيرة. أن هذا يخضع إلى سياسة الدولة لتنمية المقروءية، محو المقروءية، المقروءية، دعمها في إطار سياسة عامة، ثم يتكفل الناشئين بأخذ يعني جزء من هذه المرحلة كمساعد في إطار حل مشكلة المقروءية. من الناحية التقنية ممكن الدخول في أشياء كثيرة كفرض مثلا مادة القراءة في المدارس، فرض يعني تكون مفروضة كمادة متخصصة لحتى يتعود، لأنه عملية القراءة عملية مكتسبة ويجب تلقينها منذ الصغر وليس انتظار الشخص حتى يدخل إلى الجامعة لكي يبدأ يقرأ في قراءة الكتب. الاتجاهات العامة، الحرية التعبير الموجودة في العالم، يعني هناك الكثير جدا من النقاط التي يمكن إدخالها في إطار حل مشكلة تدني المقروءية في العالم العربي. ولكن يبقى شخصيا يعني بحكم التجربة كذلك أن في الأساس حل هذا المشكل يخضع أساسا إلى السياسات المنتهجة في مختلف الدول. هل من سؤال آخر؟ Is it good? Any question?
I can ask Hassane a question because I think something that's quite unique to the region is how translation rights are dealt with. It's quite different to how it's dealt with in the West. So Hassane, I know that you deal in translation rights, and I wondered if you could explain the key differences between how Arab publishers deal in translation rights and publishers from the West deal in translation rights.
ربما تكلمت عن هذا الموضوع بطريقة شاملة في إطار عرضي. عندما قلت أن النسب التي يطبقها الناشر العربي في تحديد سعر كتابه للجمهور، يعني النسبة أو الهوامش المتبقية بعد إنجاز أو تكلفة إنجاز الكتاب هوامش قليلة. الأساس فيها هو تدني القدرة الشرائية عامة في العالم العربي، فيخفض نسبة هذه النسبة. في عملية شراء الحقوق طبعا الحقوق اغلب الناشرين العرب يعني يدفعون حقوق الترجمه كشراء حقوق لانها تتراوح في حدود 10%، 8 الى 10%، وهو كذلك ما نطبقه فيما يخص حقوق المؤلف. فيعني الحقوق في حد ذاتها الرايتس مش يعني ليست بمشكل في حد والثاني كميه السحب التي معدل كميه السحب التي تستعين بها الناشر العربي. فاذا كان المعدل هو حوالي 2000 نسخه فانها لا تغطي ابدا تكلفه الترجمه، يعني عمليه الترجمه التقنيه تكون مكلفه جدا. في هذه الحاله الحلول الموجوده الان هو وجود بعض دعم، يعني بعض الاغلفه الماديه الموجوده عند بعض المؤسسات التي تدعم عمليه الترجمه. تحدثنا عن لايتس اون رايتس اللي موجوده هون في ابو ظبي، تحدثنا عن المنحه التي موجوده في الشارقه، تحدثنا عن كذلك على مثلا مكتب النشر الفرنسي الذي يدعم كذلك عمليه الترجمه من اللغه الفرنسيه الى اللغات الاخرى. هناك كذلك عده سفارات او عده ملحقيات ثقافيه تهتم بهذا الموضوع، سيرفانتيس، جوت انستيتيوت، تيدا في تركيا، يعني حتى جورجيا اخيرا هناك دعم. الهند كذلك تقدم دعم للناشرين الهنديين من اجل ترجمه كتبهم، من اجل محاوله البحث عن اسواق خارجيه. اذا هذه الموارد الماديه قد يستعين بها الناشر لتغطيه تكلفه الترجمه في حد ذاتها. هذا هو العائق الاساسي، هو سعر الكتاب. سعر الكتاب عامه في العالم العربي فهو في حدود $5. اذا ما قارناها مثلا بالعالم باوروبا، $5 يعني هي سعر كوبايه، يعني كوبايه شاي وكوبايه قهوه يعني. لكن بالنسبه للعالم العربي فهو سعر غالي شخصيا، يعني سعر مرتفع نسبيا. ربما هنا في الخليج العربي يعتبر سعر عادي، لكن في كثير من الدول العربييه فهذا السعر مرتفع كسعر متوسط للكتاب. واذا عرفنا ان هذا الكتاب الذي يباع للجمهور بهذا السعر، اذا اخذنا مثلا $5 او $10، تكون تكلفه انتاجه فقط هي تكلفه انتاجه كطباعه، يعني تكون في حدود $2 $2.5. اذا المعامل الذي يستعمله الناشر العربي هو قلت من 2 إلى 3. تكلفه النشر مضروبه في 2 أو 3. اعرف ان مثلا في فرنسا المعامل المضروب فيه هو في حدود 6 إلى 7، بين تكلفه الكتاب الذي قد يكلف في طباعته €2 ولكن يباع في حدود €15 إلى €20. فالفرق هنا يعني يسمح للمؤلف باخذ رايتس، يعني حقوق قيمه. كذلك عمليه الترجمه يعني تمت في هذه البلدان، وهنا نلاحظ عمليه الترجمه من الانجليزيه الى اللغه الفرنسيه والعكس، يعني كثير حركه ترجمه موجوده في اوروبا بمختلف اللغات، بسبب ان هذا الهامش يسمح لمختلف الناشرين بالتعامل مع عمليه الترجمه التي لا تصبح يعني عائقا كبيرا في عمليه نشر الكتاب. لكن في العالم العربي اعود واقول ان التكلفه كبيره جدا اذا عرفنا ان كميه السحب قليله جدا. هذه الخطوط العريضه التي نتعامل معها، واغلب الناشرين يتعاملون مع هذه عمليه الترجمه. فاما ان يكون هناك طلب مؤسساتي على اساس مضامنين بيع الكتاب بالسعر الذي يغطي تكلفه الترجمه، او ان يكون كذلك بالاستعانه ببعض الدعم الموجود في مختلف الهيئات على مستوى العالم العربي، وهي مختلفه ويمكن العوده اليها او يعني عن طريق هذا في سيشن بعد هذا ممكن يعني ممكن البحث عن المصادر، المؤسسات المموله للترجمه عبر العالم العربي، سواء عن طريق اتحاد الناشرين العرب، وهو يعني قام ببحث في هذا الموضوع. هذا هو المصدر الاساسي. تحدث قلت ان يعني the average print rights يعني 2000 نسخه تقريبا، يعني هذا يعني the average. طبعا هناك كتب خاصه جدا، بعض الروايات تصل الى ارقام جيده جدا، مئات الالاف من النسخ، ولكن اغلب يعني الكتب التي تصدر في العالم العربي لا تتجاوز ال 2000 نسخه. لعده اسباب، يعني في الحقيقه ان في بعض ان اغلب السوق الموجود اولا تدني المقرؤيه، السوق صعوبه تنقل الكتاب بين دوله واخرى، سوق المؤسسات الذي يبحث دائما على الجديد، فالكتاب الذي يطبع في 3000 نسخه بعد مرور سنتين يعتبر كتاب ميت. فكل الناشرين يحاولون ان يكون كميه السحب تكون قليله، وحتى الامكانيات الان يعني في عمليه اعاده السحب هي في اسبوع واحد ممكن يطبع يعني كميه التي يريد، ولكن طبعا الناشرين يذهبون نحو هذه الكميات القليله، وهذا هو السوق المتوفر بالنسبه للناشر العربي. 2000 only 2000 يعني this is our average. 3000 in some places, but mostly 2000 copy. That's all.
So I think the biggest difference that we see is when, say, two Western publishers do translation rights between them, they would pay a fee up front for the translation rights and then pay royalties. But certainly the experience we have with our publishers is they would pay a flat fee for a print run. So that would include the translation right advance, if you like, and the royalties in one flat fee up front?
I say that it's not a problem when you speak about the flat fee or just royalty. This is not the main problem because it costs 10% or 15% of the cost of the book itself. The biggest problem we have in the Arab countries is the translation itself, the technical operation of translating the book from a language to another one, which costs which costs a lot. Something that's an average of about $10 or something like 12 euro, 10 euro, something like this for a page of a book. So if you take a book of 200 pages, you have $2,000 to pay only for this translation, but the flat fee will cost only 1,000, for example. So you see that the price of the translation, the action of translation is very higher than the royalty. For experience, for people who are publishers who are doing the translation, I noted that most of them really don't have this problem of flat fee or paying in advance, or it's not very big problem for the translation itself. The other one flat fee, it means that it's something about faith between the publisher, the Arab publisher, and the foreign publisher. So, as we don't know the print turn, the seller of the book is not sure about the print will be done in the Arab country. So, it's also paid for him to take one flat fee, and that's enough. That's okay. He has said for just 5 years or something like this, 5 years, and he's okay. He go back home, and he don't have to each year to come back and to work to look for some $100. It's not paid. And also for the Arab one flat fee, even he sell 1,000 or 10,000 and 100,000, he also don't want to go each year and to make an account. We have sell 3 books, 4 books, something like this. We make a deal once and that's all. It's all in our mind, you know. We make a deal, we have a date, we check hands and ciao, that's okay. Okay. This is the way we think. Well, it's mainly what happened.
I was just thinking, if the pool market for translating books from one language to another in the Arab world is so limited, what criteria do you use to choose to translate the book? So is there a certain criteria that the book has to fall under, disregarding it being banned in a country? But what criteria would you look for to think, okay, I'll take a chance on this book and I will translate it?
It depends on the market. That's why I have said that there is growing of the children market, because the translation doesn't cost a lot, and the drawings are good.
Because it's a smaller book.
Because it's a smaller book.
Less words.
Yes, it's not so expensive to translate them. Also, there is academic books which can be translated because there is a need in the market, which is the institutional market. You know, universities and such things. So when you print 3,000, or you can also make the price you want, adding the translation cost, because the university or the institutions mostly have the money to print this book, but the translated books are not selling to the people, to the normal market, institutional market. It depends mainly about the target group you are looking for. That's how we chose the books. And even if you have a look to the books translated by Rights here in Abu Dhabi, you will see that children's books are philosophic, academics books. Novels are very few there translated. So because there is no market, or the market doesn't cover the cost of the translation itself.
Do you sometimes sell your books to another Arabic publisher?
Yeah, it happens. We call that the co-edition. It's not selling directly because the distribution around the Arab world is doing like this. We sell the books
at the same time. We publish at the same time.
There are some experience of publishers which are doing co-edition between 2 countries, because like I have said before, each country is a market itself, and to get into a country, it's better to have someone inside this country who know how to deal with it. So transporting the books from country to I would say it's very hard now. It's very hard because there are rules, laws in every country, which the laws and the rules are not the same. So selling books, what's happening now? It's mainly the co-edition and not the distribution. When you sell 100 books, I'm not speaking about this kind of books, as a book fair we sell something like 100 from each title, but I'm trying to speak about a real market where you can send more than 1,000 and 10,000. That's happening in Europe. I have talked a little bit about the threat, which is cost also a lot. Now with all the political problem around the Arab world, we often send our books by boats and sometimes by fly, and it costs a lot. So there is no sell like this. There also, if you are speaking about selling rights, yes, this is happening, and mainly what's happening, it's not selling rights. So I sell you my book so you can print it in your country. No, I print you your book, the book with your name in my country. That's what's happening mostly. So I take, you want that book, okay, there's no problem. I put on the book your name, and I will sell you this print, because also this problem of faith between publishers and of the cost of the printing, which is easier to print a book in Lebanon, where are less cheaper than other countries, and taxing. So this is mainly what's happening. I can give you examples of some publishers doing that. Later.
The printing is happening where, more or less? The
Lebanon. Where is it? Lebanon, Egypt,
or Asia?
Major printing.
Well, everywhere, but Lebanon and Egypt. Egypt is cheaper. The quality, you found it in Lebanon, you found it in Jordan, and sometimes also Syria was doing a good job, but now for the 5 years, so the problem. But mainly the printing is done in Lebanon. There are also good places where we can print. Some people go to Turkey. Turkey are doing a very good job. We are, as North Africa, sometimes we are marketed by European printer in Spain, such places. For the art books, we go to Italy, also cheap some places, but mainly in the Arab world, we know that we print in Lebanon. That is the main market.
So it's not so much Asia.
Now, Asia is a very, very high, let's say, for very high print run. Kind of children's books, dictionary, illustrated books, for kids especially. We have some examples here. We go to Asia because prices are also over there less, and I know that the European publishers also go to print in Asia because it's less, but they don't go to print there just 1,000. There's 100,000 or more. And we go back to the print run in the Arab world, and we speak about 2,000, so it's not impossible to go to Asia to print just only 2,000 books.
Okay, I think our session time is finished. So.
Okay, hello. I'd like to say thank you to Emma and Hassane for the interesting discussion. And in this room, in 10 minutes, we'll have a matchmaking session for distribution service providers. All exhibitors and trade agents are welcome. We try to focus on distribution service providers today. And if you're interested, I would mention before that we have this MENA Expert Publisher Certificate. If you're interested in getting that, you need to attend at least 3 more sessions on MENA issues, and you can ask for it in the help desk outside. And I hope you stay with us for today. We have another session on the UAE book market.